All right, let's talk about something that's totally changing how we build our digital world: neuro-inclusive design. And look, this isn't some nice-to-have optional feature. We're talking about a core principle for making technology that actually works better for everybody. Let's jump right in. So just think about this for a second. For so long, we've treated accessibility like this chore, right? A box you have to check at the very end. But what if we've had it completely backwards this whole time? What if building for accessibility right from the get-go is actually the secret to creating truly amazing design for everyone? Okay, so before we can get to the good stuff, we've got to talk about a trap. It's a trap that so many well-meaning people and teams fall right into. It comes from, well, a pretty flawed idea of what accessibility really means. See, the old way of thinking, it's all about fixing people, not the broken systems we've built. It's got a name: the accommodation model. And it's totally reactive. It's like you see someone struggling and you ask, okay, how can we make a special exception for this person? But can you see the problem there? It puts all the focus on the individual being the problem instead of pointing the finger at the inaccessible environment they're trying to survive in. And the fallout from this? It's huge. And it's really personal. Imagine spending all of your energy every single day just trying to fit into systems that weren't built for you. That's called masking, and it's absolutely exhausting. It leads straight to burnout. And that kicks off this really vicious cycle, right? The more burned out you are, the less energy you have to ask for what you need. So the systems stay broken, which means you have to keep masking. It's just brutal. So how do we break out of that awful cycle? Well, it takes a complete shift in how we think about this stuff, a really fundamental one. We've got to stop trying to fix people and start fixing the environments we're all responsible for creating. And here it is, laid out side by side. This is the heart of that mindset shift. Over here, you've got the old reactive accommodation model. But on the other side, we have this new way, the social contextual model. Now, instead of waiting for things to break and then making one-off exceptions for people, this new model says, let's focus on the environment itself. The goal isn't making special rules anymore. The goal is to build better, stronger, more welcoming systems for everyone from the start. And look, if you're thinking, oh, this is for a small niche group, you need to see this number. About 1 in 7 people are neurodivergent. 1 in 7. That means in any group of users, on any team, in any audience, a big chunk of those people think and process the world differently. This isn't a side issue. It's a massive design consideration. You know, there's this really powerful way to think about this, that neurodivergent folks are like the canaries in the coal mine of our digital world. They're often the very first people to notice the friction, the things that just don't work. A confusing menu, a clunky process, too many notifications. But, and this is the amazing part, when you fix those problems for them, you almost always end up making the experience smoother and more intuitive for every single person who uses it. Okay, so we get the why. We've had that mindset shift. But what does this actually look like when you sit down to design something? Let's get practical and talk about the key principles for designing for all brains. It really boils down to a few core ideas. First, give people more than one way to get the information. Some people are visual, some need to read it, others need to hear it. Give them options. Second, make your structure super clear and predictable. People shouldn't have to waste brain power figuring out where things are. Third, be flexible. Let people engage with your stuff on their own terms in different ways. And finally, be explicit. Use clear, simple language. Cut out the ambiguity. You know, clarity is kindness. It really is. Now, this all might sound like a huge undertaking, but you can start making a real difference, like, right now. Seriously, I'm going to give you a super simple accessibility check you can do in literally 5 minutes. No, really, try this later on your own website or app. Number 1, color contrast. Can you actually read the text easily? 2, zoom your browser into 200%. Does the whole page just fall apart? 3, put your mouse away. Can you get to everything just using the tab key? And is it obvious where you are on the page? You know, the team at Zappos actually used this to make sure their screen readers announced new badges in the right order. It's a small thing that makes a huge difference. 4, Do your images have good descriptive alt text? And 5, are your headings in a logical order? H1, then H2, then H3. These 5 simple checks can uncover some major problems that are probably hiding in plain sight. But here's the thing. A one-time check is great, but it's not the end goal. Real inclusivity, it has to be sustainable. You have to think of accessibility less like a project you finish and more like a garden you have to tend to all the time. And this right here, this is the key to making it last. You have to build it into your everyday workflow. It needs to become routine, a habit, not some fire you're constantly trying to put out. When it's just part of how you work, it becomes second nature. It's not an extra step, it's the step. And here's what that kind of routine could look like. And we're not talking about adding hours and hours to your week. It's all about small, consistent actions. A quick 2-minute scan of anything new you publish, maybe 15 minutes a week to check alt text and test a new feature. Then a half-hour audit once a month, and a deeper dive every quarter. By building in these tiny habits, you create and maintain a space that's genuinely accessible for the long haul. But when it all comes down to it, all these tools and checklists, they're just the beginning. They're super helpful, but they're not the real takeaway. The most important thing, the thing that will truly change how you build and create, is that fundamental shift in your own mindset.
So I'm going to leave you with this. It's a simple little rephrasing, but it changes everything. Stop asking yourself, how can I make this thing I built accessible? And start asking, how can I design this to be accessible from the very, very start? Because when that second question becomes your automatic go-to, you're not just ticking boxes anymore. You're building better worlds for all brains.